The Australian Sports Commission defines game sense as an approach to modified sport that engages children in minor and modified game strategies and concepts, where there's opportunities to develop both skills and an understanding of the tactics of the game. We use this approach when designing our lesson plans to teach Mowbray Primary School.
In using the game sense approach, we found both advantages and disadvantages. Some of the advantages were that students were more engaged. It was more appealing to large groups for students and teachers. It improves students' ability to understand time, space, and risk concepts. Students become confident sports people with or without equipment. Tactical awareness is enhanced and time on task is maximised. Some of the disadvantages include us as teachers assuming higher order thinking from the students. Sometimes it is hard to cater for students' different ability levels, and it can be competitive, which may deter some students. Our lesson plan was based around the game Run the Gauntlet. We used the Australian Sports Commission recommended lesson plan card to detail our activities.
Within this game, our students needed to be able to successfully run, stop, dodge and overarm throw. The playing boundaries were marked out with cones, and we made the safe zone out of poly spots to ensure students could differentiate between zones. Students needed to run up, collect a beanbag, run back and place their beanbag in their team's hoop to score while dodging the opposition's team's balls. If hit by a ball, students had to drop their beanbag immediately, allowing the next player to either get a new beanbag or pick up the dropped beanbag. Within this game, our students needed to be able to successfully run, stop, dodge and overarm throw. Some of the adaptations that could have been implemented into the game were to make the playing zone bigger or smaller, making the safe zone bigger or smaller, having less or more throwing balls for the throwing team. When the running team gets hit, they must freeze where they are, and having the running team run in pairs. With our activity, we decided to have the running team run in pairs to make it easier for the throwing team to hit them. Some of the adaptations that could have been implemented into the game were to make the playing zone bigger or smaller, making the safe zone bigger or smaller, having less or more throwing balls for the throwing team. When the running team gets hit, they must freeze where they are, and having the running team run in pairs. With our activity, we decided to have the running team run in pairs to make it easier for the throwing team to hit them.
Our learning outcomes for these lessons were for students to become competent in the Run the Gauntlet game using overarm and dodging skills. Students will be able to aim and throw the ball at the opposing team with accuracy, are autonomous in performing the fundamental motor skill of dodging, and students implement precise locomotor skills to produce effective movement patterns. We found that this directly linked these two curriculum content descriptors. We chose these learning outcomes because we believe that becoming autonomous in these areas is essential for lifelong participation in health and physical activity. Students demonstrated that they met these outcomes by participating and succeeding in all aspects of the game.
We used the game sense approach within our questioning, asking questions around time, space and risk within the game. In our class, we had several students who did not speak English. We catered for this by using hand signals while speaking. In playing the game, we discovered that in order to achieve our learning outcomes, students required to practice their overarm throw. We then proceeded to complete a drill focusing on this. Our drill was called wall targets. This involves students using correct technique to aim and throw a softball at a target. Demonstrations of technique were demonstrated by the teacher.
The changes we made for our second lesson included a stronger focus on behaviour management to create a smoother learning environment, maximising students' time on task and actively moving around the students as they were practicing their drill, providing constructive feedback to improve technique. Evaluation of our lesson was derived from both self-reflection and peer reviews. This allows for modification of pedagogy and skill set for future teaching endeavours.
Throughout this experience, we learnt about the importance of clarity of questioning, why open-ended questions are important, to never assume a student's ability because everyone learns differently, and we also learnt a lot about behaviour management in a sporting environment. We believe that game sense is an efficient way of teaching students about the skills and techniques required to participate in games.